One of the stories that we have here, really, with this is that, one, the virus is what the virus is. There was always a certain inevitability that this was going to be difficult. America is a tricky place in many respects because it's less cohesive of a country than many other countries. And to the extent that it's equally as uncohesive as other countries, our government has less authority, or we all choose to have our government to have less authority. Fortunately, we have the right to choose that, to enforce cohesion, as it were. But one thing that is that could have mitigated this whole problem that we're having now is if the administration had taken this seriously. If they had taken it seriously starting 2 years ago, and it's not just this administration, it's the whole Republican Party, their whole perspective on things like public health is an anathema to them because they hate the idea that we as a body politic, as one body politic, as a public, as a government, as a society, can actually influence things in such a way that it benefits everybody. It is contrary to their ideology. So when they see someone sitting on the National Security Council who's in charge of coordinating pandemic response, and there's no pandemic, they say this is a waste, and so on and so on. And then when we are hit by a pandemic, the only thing they think is like, well, let's bet that this thing blows over. I mean, this is the model that the administration used is like one where we see, you know, a corporation saying, okay, we're dumping this stuff into the water. We know it causes cancer, but we're making billions of dollars a year profit. So let's just keep doing it. And, you know, if we get caught, which is not a guarantee, then we just pay it off. That's the cost of doing business. That's what was going on at the beginning of of this whole thing. Here's Larry Kudlow. He is on with Jake Tapper as late February. Remember, we all went basically in the New York area. We went basically underground, as it were, in mid-March. And here's Larry Kudlow back in, on with Jake Tapper this weekend, but trying to defend what he was saying in February, late February.
Apparently got in the doghouse for saying in a conference call, doghouse with President Trump, for saying in a conference call that it was not a matter of if, but when there would be a severe disruption to the American people and our way to live life. And that's the same day, as you know, that you said this. Let's roll that tape.
We have contained this, I won't say airtight, but pretty close to airtight. We've done a good job in the United States.
So I guess the question is there a disconnect between what people such as you who want things to be better than they are so as to help the economy are saying and what people in the health field are saying?
Well, look, Jake, for the umpteenth time, I will say my quote then was based on the actual facts, which at the time there were only 40 or 50 cases, and it was contained, particularly after President Trump boldly put up travel restrictions with China. That's what I didn't make a forecast so far, and that was just, there was hardly any cases. Okay, now, yes, some doctors were more fearful. Other doctors had many different things to say. I don't want to get in and play this game, who said what and when. Political leaders, one well-known political leader in the House went to Chinatown in San Francisco and said everything is okay, okay? One important anchor on your network as late as mid-March said basically the COVID-19 virus was no worse than an ordinary flu year. I mean, there are people saying, my quote was, at that time, there were very few cases. Then, as the virus spread exponentially in ways that virtually no one could have predicted, of course, we changed our mind. Going forward, the president and the vice president have taken strong measures, step by step by step, okay? Strong measures to deal with this unexpected outbreak. And I think, the sort of ankle biting that's going on in Washington is just incorrect. You have to deal with the information at hand. When the information changes, you change. We changed our strategy. So did everybody else around.
Wow. That, incidentally, was at like 9 a.m. in the morning. In many respects, we're all Larry Kudlow now. I think probably the liquor sales are through the roof, as it were. But Jesus. The word contained, Matt, you're the host of Literary Hangover. Maybe this is appropriate for me to ask you.
Okay.
When you say contained, what you're saying is that it can't get out, right? I mean, you're not saying our numbers are low right now. You're saying we've actually put it into a container, if you will.
Sort of confined within something.
Confined. We've
within
confined
limits.
it. In other words, we've stopped its spread. And Larry wants us to believe that, well, the reason why he said that was because this was before it spread so much. And I think he doesn't understand what the word contained means. But I think he does, and I think he's lying.
Yeah.
They blew this. They made a bet that they could get away. That somehow that wasn't serious. That the American public wouldn't care, or whatever it is. Just an abject failure. And so I understand why Kudlow is in a position that he would be slurring so significantly that time in the morning on a Saturday, or really any day. I guess it was Sunday. But no, they didn't contain it. And no, and worse than that, they have been promoting these protests to push governors to open up early, and I think we're going to pay the price of that. It's now early May. I think we're not going to know till mid-June just how much of a price we're about to pay as a country in terms of the American people, but we will find out soon.